Morning, and I'm Sohail Nathaniel, and today we are going to talk about cross-culture or intercultural communication. So this is my content list, and in this one, I'm going to talk about the importance of cross-cultural communication in the workplace. Number two, I will talk cross-cultural miscommunications, best practices for effective cross-cultural communication. Number four, avoiding stereotypes and cultural bias, normal or non-verbal communication, and embarrassing the learning cure, mutual respect and fair promotions, communicating ethically across culture, scope and conclusion, and references at the end I will provide. Cross-cultural communication in the workplace. Number one, importance of cross-cultural communication, why it is important in our workplace. This is what I will be talking about today. Cross-cultural communication in the workplace, in the international workplace, what it means, why it matters, and how we can improve it in our daily life when we will meet people. Let's get started. Cross-culture communication means exchanging ideas, information between people from different cultural backgrounds. It's about recognizing both differences and common grounds and using that awareness of communicate more clearly and respectfully. We work with people from different countries, culture, backgrounds. That's why understanding cross-culture communication is very important. Cross-culture communication means learning how people from different countries or cultures they speak, listen, and understand things differently. Let's say the way someone from China communicate might be very different from someone in Pakistan or Brazil, like I'm from Pakistan. It is not just language exactly, but also the body language. Tone is however, and voice, how we raise, and how people interrupt or interpret the messages exactly during that time. Sometimes this can lead to misunderstanding or even conflict at our workplace. If we use different tone, voice, it creates misunderstandings or even conflict, especially if people don't understand each other cultural background. We exactly often focus on the visible parts of culture. We focus the food, the dress, and festival, but deep cultural values like people view our time and teamwork or leadership. These are things very hard to see. These are the reasons behind communication problem. Even when we all speak English, communication can be difficult. Words can be differently interpreted or provides different meanings in different cultures. Like I said before, tone and body language can also be misunderstood. For example, direct eye contact, it is could be very polite or respectful in some cultures in Europe or in America, but if it's go back to my country in Asia, it considered to be rude. Exactly. That's why it is important to learn effective communication strategies that help us work better in the multicultural team or in international places. Why it is important, the cross-culture communication, why it is important. We are living in a world, exactly, this world is a globalized world. We often work with people from different countries, backgrounds, and belief systems, whether it is in business, in education, in healthcare center, or even online cross-culture communication. These are the keys to avoid misunderstanding when we understand, right? and building positive, respectful relationship. When we understand their culture, it will help us more. So that's why it is important when we are working in different places with the international community, we need to understand exactly. And we will see what are the benefits of cross-culture communication. The benefits is number one, it builds a team, and this team, better team, it creates, and it trust creates between team. It reduces the conflicts, misunderstandings between teams. It helps solve problem together, working with other people. When collaboration comes, encourage uh, to respect others. When we communicate well across culture, we create stronger teams and smoother collaboration. It becomes easier to solve problems. This is also one benefit, and understand each other needs exactly during our work, and build a workplace that values everyone. Ways to improve cross culture communication. So, what are the ways that we can improve cross culture communication? Number one, accept agility. One of the biggest challenge is the fear of change. We are fear, we don't want to change. This is our fear. Sometimes people worry that adopting to new ideas might affect their beliefs or values. We need to come out from this kind of things. But growth requires flexibility exactly. We can start by stepping out of our comfort zone, being open to feedback and trying new approaches. This is one thing that we can grow. We need to be flexible. And when we are talking about flexible, we don't assume there's only one right way. There could be more ways, not just one way. So we need to what exactly stay open-minded. Close-mindedness is another barrier. It's easy to think our way is the only way and it's the right way, but it helps to explore other perspectives, asking questions, learning from others, and showing respect to different views can improve relationship and decision making. This is more important for us to understand others for decision making, and develop awareness. How we can develop our awareness, this is also one thing. Understanding your own culture and hidden biases, it is important to reflect ourselves exactly. When we are more self-aware, we better at understanding others. Companies and businesses can also check if their values and communication style include everyone, not just only one specific group. Culture misunderstanding. This is my second heading. Let's now talk about what happens when cross-culture miscommunication goes wrong. Many problems in workplaces come from simple misunderstanding. When people from different cultures don't share the same values or communication style, the message can be easily misunderstood. One of the main reasons for miscommunication is cultural values. These are deep beliefs we grow up with exactly about how to behave, how to talk or to others, and how to treat the time, and what considered respectful or disrespectful. These values shapes the way we think, and they often different across countries. These values, they are not same all the time. They are different in values. Let me give you a quick comparison. In many Indian companies, when people, they are all the time respect the hierarchy, the authorities more. So employees don't dare to ask a question mostly to the managers because they are worried about anything gets wrong and it will come the negative effect on them. But in American many companies or the workplaces, employees are encouraged to ask questions and and share their ideas. Even the company or the managers they don't agree with the boss. Values can be changed over time. For example, let's say many Pakistani who moved to UK slowly adopt to the English ways of working. They started valuing time more strictly and learned to better balance between personal life and work. This kind of cultural adoption is a common and show how people adjust in the global environment. So, when we are working with people from different backgrounds, we have to be careful not to judge too quickly. That help us to build better, strong communication at workplace. Number three is best practices for effective cross-cultural communication. In this, we will talk about some best practices we can follow to communicate better cross-culture. First, always remember the basic etiquettes are every culture has its own ideas of what's polite and what's not polite in their culture. Before visiting a new country or working with the new group or international people from different cultures, it is always helpful to learn a little more about their customs, their culture. Simple things like using polite words, it is respectful for them, or greeting people properly can be a big difference in their culture. So we need to know their way and their greetings, that it helps and it make very nice communication bridge with them. For example, in our culture, sometime what we say, we call sir and madam. It's very common. It shows respect uh, in a formal setting, but in other countries it's more common to call people's and managers name or the teacher's name directly by their first name. Therefore, knowing this kind of small things and small differences helps to avoid the these kind of movements which create problem. Also, speaking clearly and avoiding using slang words or complex word, it is more important. What makes sense in our culture might confuse others. So we should avoid this kind of. It is important to slow down. Your speech should be clear, especially when we are talking to the group of people who is mixed cultural background, or they are more like different countries people. This make it easier for everyone to understand that time. When we greet others, we need to remember that all cultures they don't shake hands. Some they prefer to bow down, they don't shake hand, and some they prefer to exactly uh, uh, make distance exactly with. So we need to see how people they are comfortable with us. In short, respect, awareness, and politeness are our best tools to avoiding misunderstanding and building strong connection in the global workplace. Four parts: avoiding stereotypes and cultural bias. One important thing to remember in multicultural workplace is this: don't judge other through your own culture. In diverse team, people often share their ideas with others from their backgrounds. This can lead to stereotypes. For example, a manager might think that someone he hired is his employees from a particular culture always comes to them for help for a small even problem based on his experience and assumptions, uh, that everyone from he thinks the same culture is lack of independence. That's what he makes his mind. So when someone newly joined from the same background his company, he always thinks or treat differently. Even the person is confident and capable doing in his work. He does not need, and he is independent, does not need for any kind of or looking for any kind of help. That's not fair exactly judging this way. It creates unspoken discrimination. When we talk about understanding people from different culture, our ability to recognize that other are thinking and feeling, we need to understand their thinking and feeling, we need to recognize that. But sometimes our thoughts about others are influenced by stereotypes or cultural bias, which can lead to misunderstanding. Adopting to other culture isn't always easy. Things like prejudice, stereotypes can block cultural exchange. These things. We will not be able to exchange cultural values. The key message is here we need to be aware our own culture and then other culture. We don't need to assume things about people just because of where they come from. Instead of this one, we need to take our time, understand their individual personalities, backgrounds, and their style of communication. We need to be open-minded and respectful for others. We can build this way stronger, more uh, team work, and we can avoid frustration that would lead us and come from what exactly misjudging others. These things will come. If I will talk about non-verbal communication, in cross-culture communication, uh, non-verbal communication signals can either build understanding or create confusion. That's because gestures or expression might carry very different meanings cross-culture. Things like eye contact, let's say tone of your voice, your hand gestures, and even silence send very powerful message, but they don't mean the same thing everywhere. For example, direct eye contact is expressed or is considered in many Western countries or in America. It shows you are confident and you are honest. While in Asian culture, South Asia, when we are talking to our elders, we avoid the eye contact. We don't, and it shows exactly respect in our culture when we avoiding the eye contact. Similarly, uh, raising your voice might shows passion in other cultures, but in our culture it seems aggressive. Uh, so we don't raise voice, especially when our elders are around. Stress is a natural part of intercultural interaction, especially when people face cultural shock. Stress comes, but we can try to understand this kind of stress, and we can avoid them by watching local media there, learning about their food and traditions, music, and social norms. The easiest or easier is become to adjust and communicate effectively with other peoples when we try to understand their culture. So we will be not be culture shock in this way when we are trying to. In the end, I don't think take things as personally. Uh, Keep an open mind. We all need to be keep an open mind and treat every missteps as a learning opportunity. So we are learning something from different culture. That shows strong intercultural communication is building in international workplace. Our next part, we will talk about mutual respect and fair promotions in the international setup. A successful cultural workplace depends on mutual respect. Promotion should be based on merit exactly, not on assumptions or cultural base. Managers should must avoid judging through stereotypes. Instead, decisions like promotion appraisal, or even pay cuts should be transparent. All these things, giving employees chance that they can talk and raise their voices, respecting everybody equally builds trust and keep the organization fair and motivated. Ethically across culture. When operating across culture, companies must check different ethical standards and laws. This is important for the companies. Check different ethical standards and laws. What is acceptable in one country might be inappropriate in other countries or in other culture. Ethical communication means respecting local norms without discrimination exactly. For example, when marketing in a country where women have limited role, companies should avoid promoting stereotypes, but also avoid directly funding culture they are local. Need to respect for human dignity and at the same time avoiding harm. This will ensure ethical and effective cross-culture communication for the company. Conclusion in intercultural communication. This study explores key communication issues in the intercultural context and highlights best practices for human resources management and intercultural negotiation. It's especially relevant for international companies, those they are operating globally. As multicultural work environment grows, effective communication between managers, employees, and stakeholders is very important for business successes. In conclusion, cross-cultural communication requires a balance exactly. Misunderstandings, any kind of may arise from words or our behaviors that stereotypes the effect of understand others' culture leads to better understanding and cooperation. During this course, I have learned something, and I'm someone who likes to keep communication simple and very friendly. I try to be clear, honest, and respectful. And I have realized how important it is to listen exactly patiently to others when they are speaking, especially when they come from the different countries or different cultures. This course also helped me to understand my own communication habits better even now. I have now tried to slow down, avoid assumptions, and give people time exactly to express themselves and about their culture. I have also learned that it's okay to ask questions, to clarify things instead of pretending to be that I understand things. So it is better to clarify and ask questions. Here are some tips I would like to share uh, when we make cooperation. It's easier. First, be respectful and show interest in other cultures. Even a small effort understand their culture customs or language can mean a lot to them. Secondly, avoid judging just because something is different does not mean it's wrong exactly, it's just different. Third, if there's a misunderstanding, stay calm. Try to explain. Even sometimes you need to use simple words and try to give them example if they don't understand. In my own culture, we value hospitality and kindness. It is very important in Pakistan. So being warm and polite really help. These things helps for communication. So I try to be clear and stay on topic when I communicate with people, right? And at the end of the day, it's all about respect and openness. How much you are open and respect other people and want to learn about them. When we listen, learn, and care about others, communication becomes much easier between us. the this is all from me and for my side, and here are the references from where I have studied, some videos I have watched, and everything I have learned during this course, and some material I've used from the provided by our university. And thank you very much for everything. And that's all from me, Sohail Nathaniel. Yes.